Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be ranking the top 10 Batman comics, but I'm going to be doing this a little bit differently because most of the time when I do this, it's like a typical top 10 list where I pick all the comics and I tell you why they're my favorite and all that. But I thought it would be fun to change things up a little bit and go out there and find a list that was more of like a consensus put together by comic fans and rearrange that list and give my thoughts on it and why I rearrange it. So I went out, I tried to find a list, and I found one on Goodreads that has 931 votes. So almost 1,000 people voted on it. So this is what a lot of people think. And I'll read you off the list real quick, and then I'll go through and give you how I would actually arrange it, what I would have at the number one, number 10 spot, and so on. So starting off at number 10, we have Batman, Death in the Family. Then we have The Black Mirror, Dark Victory, The Court of Owls, Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on a Serious Earth, Batman Hush, Batman Year One, The Long Halloween, The Dark Knight Returns, and The Killing Joke. So a lot of solid stories on there. Not really any stinkers, but yeah, it's a pretty good list. Because when I was looking around for lists, there's so many just random lists and so many articles. And if you've ever tried to look at like comic book criticism or like these sites that cover comic books, it's a trash heap for the most part. It's really bad. There's some good stuff on YouTube, obviously, but as far as like external going to like other websites, it's rough. But I thought this was cool finding a Goodreads list that had fan input on it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off at number 10, this is a comic a lot of people are going to crucify me for putting here. But if you've been around the channel for a while, you know it's not exactly one of my favorites. I think it's incredibly overrated. Is A Dark Knight Returns. Now, I think the Batman stuff in The Dark Knight Returns is pretty good, but everything else I don't really care for. I think Carrie Kelly sucks and she's the least interesting Robin. I'm not a fan of the art style. I like Frank Miller's art style in Wolverine, what he did with Chris Claremont, but here it just don't like it. It doesn't look good. It's not pleasing to me. I'm not a big fan of this art style. I hate how there's constant exposition. I hate how we constantly get the news people the news anchors trying to explaining to you what's going on. I don't think that's needed. All the time when we're not with Batman, I'm like, get with Batman. I'm just not the biggest fan of this book. But again, the Batman stuff is good. The stuff with Batman, the mutants, I really like that. There is some good stuff in here. The Superman characterization is terrible, and we've gotten so many of this. Like Superman's a government stooge retard. We've gotten so much of that, and this was one of the books that really kicked that off. That it kind of pisses me off. But again, it's not a terrible comic. I just think it's incredibly overrated. And a lot of the times when I talk to people that really love this comic, they're like, "Yeah, man, I remember I was like 12 when it came out, and it was so cool." And it's like, oh, that's why. Like I first read it after I had read so many other Batman comics that are so much better. But I get a lot of people love this. A lot of people are think it's great, and it was obviously groundbreaking at the time. But reading it now, I read it a long time ago, but still way after the fact because obviously I wasn't around, I wasn't alive when this book came out. But reading it all the years later, it's it's just not that good to me. Like maybe if I read it when it first came out, maybe if I was alive, then it would have hit. But for me, it didn't really. Not a terrible comic. I just think it's incredibly overrated. So if you're not clicking off the video after that, let's move on to number 9, which is Batman Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on a Serious Earth. The art in this and the writing are both incredibly trippy. It's Grant Morrison, so of course it's going to be crazy. It's a nuts book. The art is insane, but it fits perfectly. I really like this, but it's still weird and out there, and it's such a different Batman story. It's good and it's worth reading. It's just I couldn't really put it any higher on this list. I felt 9 fit it. It's worth reading. It's just it's crazy, but I mean, it's an Arkham Asylum book written by Grant Morrison. What did you expect? At number 8, we got A Death in the Family. This one's pretty good, but it's kind of when you get outside of the actual death of Jason Todd, all the rest of it isn't quite as good. But the actual death of Jason, how he gets there and everything that happens with his mom is so tragic and sad. And of course, it was groundbreaking at the time. You had this Robin getting killed. It was fan voted, which is crazy. But it was Jason Todd, which a whole lot of people didn't really care for, because everyone still liked Dick Grayson, and Jason wasn't the most intriguing or likable Robin. But man, I really that was the one thing about the movie that upset me a little bit because Under the Red Hood's a great movie, but I wish they would have included his mom in it because that part is the most heartbreaking to me. Is when he tracks down his mom, he finally finds her, and then she's the reason that he's there, and he gets killed by Joker. That sucks so bad. I feel so bad for Jason. And what's even worse is what DC has done to his character as of late. But yeah, Death in the Family is a must read. At number 7, we got The Killing Joke. Now, Alan Moore in his prime, you got Brian Bolland killing it. He does incredible work on here. This book looks so nice. And I really like this comic, but the reason it's so high up and not lower on the list is because it's more of a Joker story. It's not so much a Batman story. The Batman stuff is great in it, and the Joker stuff is obviously incredible. But on the Batman list, I felt like the Killing Joke is like, this is a more of a Joker comic, so I didn't feel right putting it more, like top five scenario. Even though it's story wise, it's up there. It's just because it's not really a Batman story is why I didn't put it there. But Killing Joke is obviously amazing. At number six, we got Dark Victory. I really like Dark Victory, but the reason it's here is because I feel like it kind of just retreads a lot from the Long Halloween, but with Robin. Granted, Robin's great and has a really nice aspect to it, and I love that Robin's included in it, and I really like the way Jeff Loeb writes him, and obviously Tim Sale is incredible. But it feels very much. I know some people that like Dark Victory much better than Long Halloween, but I don't get that because especially if you read them back to back, it's like you read Long Halloween, then you read Dark Victory, and it's like, oh, we're kind of just retreading what we already did. It's still really good, but it does feel a little copy paste. Not entirely, but I get a little bit of that when I read it. But Dark Victory is still a great comic. Number five, we have a controversial one. A lot of people won't like this. It's Batman Hush. I was surprised to see this in the top 10 because every time I see anyone talk about Batman Hush, people hate it. I know so many people are really not gonna like my opinions on this because I have Dark Knight Returns at 10 and Batman Hush at 5. A lot of people are gonna say it's blasphemy, but this is my opinion, okay? It's the whole point of this video is to give you guys my opinion. But I really like Batman Hush. I just reread it recently, and right before Hush 2 came out. Hush 2 is terrible, by the way, but the first Hush I enjoyed. I'm a big Riddler fan, so of course the reveal with Riddler was amazing. Jim Lee, oh my goodness, just drawing all these characters in the DC universe. And it is an intriguing mystery. It's not as good as Long Halloween, but I do like how the Bat family is written, how Batman is written. I think Jeff Loeb does a good job. A lot of people talk about how it's super messy and not very good. And like, I don't get that. I just reread it like right before Hush 2 came out, and I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Is it the best Batman story ever? No, it's at number 5 here out of the 10 that these people chose. But I still think it's really good. And and again, art is half the comic, and the art is amazing. But that being said, I really do like the character of Tommy Elliott and how he was introduced here. And I like some people are like, oh, so he just wanted to be rich and that's why he did all this. That's so stupid. It's like, well, yeah, he was a little kid and he saw Bruce get everything that he wanted and he hated his parents. Like, I sometimes people just have petty reasonings for things. Like, I'm fine with that. And then you have the Harvey Dent stuff that's real interesting. And yeah, it does kind of cheat a little with the mystery and some things it does, but it's still really good, and I really like Hush. At number 4, we have the Court of Owls. Now, this was at a time when the New 52 just happened, and a lot of people were very upset because everything had been reset, and a lot of the comics weren't very good. But then you did had some comics that were good. You got like Animal Man, All Star Western, and of course Batman. Batman was leading the pack. Batman was like, holy crap, it's amazing. We got Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo on here. It's incredible, and I really, really like Court of Owls. The only real problem I have with Court of Owls is sort of like the ending with like the oh, is this Bruce's brother? I hate the secret sibling trope so much. It's so overplayed in comics. It just keeps constantly happening. It annoys the hell out of me. But other than that, I think Court of Owls is great. I really loved what he did with the Court of Owls. I think they're kind of like what Grant Morrison was doing in Batman R.I.P. with the Black Hand, but I think better. I think Snyder did a better job with like the secret society under Gotham. I really liked what he did there. And of course, they look super sick, and how the world building he did with that was really cool. And it's really good. Court of Owls it was an instant classic. At number 3, I've got Batman Year One, which to me is the greatest thing that Frank Miller ever did at DC Comics. His work on this, his writing, he's the top of his game. He's in his bag for this one. He is just reading it, you'll just be enthralled. David Mazzucchelli on art is perfect. He is so perfect for this world, for this book that Frank Miller wrote. It is just seeing the writing and the art complement each other so well. You rarely see it as perfect as it is in this comic. Year One is basically a perfect comic. It's such a good Jim Gordon story. It is such a great origin story. Batman Year One is an experience, and it's one of those where you always hear with certain characters where it's like, you gotta read this book, you gotta read this book. And then when you read it and then you read a bunch of comics from those characters, it's always like, I don't know if I necessarily needed to read that one. It's not as doesn't stack up. year one is the exception to that. Like you read year one when you first get into Batman, when you first get into comics, and you read a bunch of comics, and then you come back, you're like, oh yeah, year one is still at the top of the pile. And number two, I've got Batman the Long Halloween. Again, Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale make a spectacular team. They're pretty good at making these comics, and Tim Sale is just so perfect for Gotham. I love the way he draws these characters, and Jeff Loeb was really good at writing mysteries at this time. I think Long Halloween is his best work on Batman. He's done a lot of Batman, probably his best work at DC, to be honest. Just the Long Halloween. There's a reason that pretty much every Batman movie's been, well, most Batman movies have been inspired by it. Like if you watched all the Batman movies and you go back and you read Long Halloween, you're like, oh yeah, this is just everything was from the Long Halloween. Like you see elements of it everywhere. There's reasons it's inspired like everyone because Long Halloween is that good. And at number one, I have Batman the Black Mirror. And this, regardless of this list or anything, is my favorite Batman story of all time. It's from Scott Snyder and Jock and Francisco Francavilla, and it is such a good detective story. This was right before the New 52. It's Scott Snyder's best story to me, and you've got James Gordon Jr. involved, and what really fleshing him out as a character and really making him a big part of the world of Batman, and how it ends is incredible, and the way Joker was used, and it's Dick Grayson as Batman. So it's funny that the best Batman story, in my opinion, it doesn't even involve Bruce Wayne, and the interactions that he has with Bruce's Rogues Gallery is really interesting. And just, man, Black Mirror, if you have not read it, you should. Batman the Black Mirror is such a good comic. I wish they'd make an absolute edition of it. They have a deluxe edition, but they don't have an absolute. I want a big oversized edition because Jock is so good at drawing creepy characters, unsettling characters, and Francisco Francavilla does a great job with his portion of the book as well. Especially I love the colors on his portion and how it affects his art. It's just, Batman the Black Mirror is the best Batman story ever told, in my opinion. It's my favorite. I love the Black Mirror. I was happy to see it on this top 10 because I didn't know if it would be there because I thought maybe it'd be all Bruce stories. So I'm glad that, because my top 10 list would definitely be much different than this one, but the Black Mirror would be number one on there. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I want to hear from you in the comments below. How would you arrange this list? This list that I got off off the internet. How would you arrange it? And if you want to see more like this, maybe because I already looked it up and I saw there's a list like this for Superman. Should I do that, or should I do a list giving you my actual top 10 Batman? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all later.
Hey, skinny boy, saucy boy, I be running to the bank. Yeah, you know I hit the gas in the whip full tank. Riding past the ocean while I'm listening to Frank.